up on Network Africa. Dozens of migrants killed in a shipwreck off the Senegal's coast. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima visits flooded Maiduguri, Borno State. Plus, the Democratic Republic of Congo received 50,000 vaccines from the U.S. to tackle its Mpox outbreak. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin here in West Africa. Search and rescue efforts are still underway in Senegal after a boat carrying migrants capsized off the country's Atlantic coast. Authorities say at least 26 people have died from the over 100 who were on board the wooden fishing vessel. Distraught relatives and friends are said to have gathered along that beach anxiously waiting for news of their loved ones. So far, 4 people have been rescued, and the boat is said to have sank just 4 kilometers into its journey. It had departed from Umbo, about 80 kilometers south of the capital city, Dakar, and was bound for Spain's Canary Islands, which are off the coast of West Africa. Back here in Nigeria, we have a figure now of prisoners that escaped prison on Tuesday as a result of the severe flooding in Borno State. Officials say at least 286 inmates are on the run after escaping from the Maiduguri Medium Security Custodial Center. The flooding has been described as the most catastrophic event in Maiduguri in over 3 decades, and this is by the country's Vice President, Kashim Shettima. He has visited the capital to assess the situation, which has ravaged several houses in the metropolis, including the Shehus Palace, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, Sanda Kiarimi Park Zoo, and other infrastructures. Well, Vice President Shettima says the federal government is developing a comprehensive roadmap to tackle the challenges of perennial floods in Nigeria.
Vice President Kashim Shettima assessing the flood situation in Maiduguri, Borno State after days of flooding. Wading through the body of water, he drives through the city to catch a glimpse of the devastation. He makes a stop at the Bakassi IDP camp where some of the displaced persons are temporarily taking refuge. He makes a stop at the palace of the Shehu of Borno, which has been partly submerged. The flood impacted Maiduguri metropolis and parts of Jere local government area, affecting houses, shops, and critical infrastructure, including major roads. Vehicular movement is restricted as a result of the flood, as critical facilities are affected. Thousands of residents living along the waterways and flood-prone areas, mostly women and children, are displaced. Though the state has been experiencing heavy rainfall, the flood has been traced to the release of water from the Alo Dam, a major source of water supply to Maiduguri. Although the state government has allayed fears of flood, communities have been grappling with the effects of the leakage from the dam and heavy rainfall.
The dam has not broken down. It is actually the damaged parts that is overspilling. But at the same time, even when it overspills, the river behind us, River Yetsaram, is where the water drains into.
Developed a strategy to address perennial flooding and other environmental crises confronting the state as a medium-term plan.
All the flood-prone areas has been taken over with development. People build house on flood-prone areas.
And once we monitor our dams, we check the inflow, we release the water out, the impact can be minimal. But in the absence of this, we'll continue to have perennial flooding because it is expected. Climate is changing.
According to the National Emergency Management Agency, 7 lives have been lost. 150,000 persons are displaced and about 7,000 houses are affected.
Well, the high cost of living in Nigeria is no doubt having a great impact on the lives of citizens and residents alike. Many people have been forced to change their lifestyle, as a result of the challenges of the economic challenges in the country. Essential commodity prices continue to rise, and individuals and families are finding it difficult to meet their basic expenses, especially because incomes are still static. The cost of other needs, such as rent and education, have also surged dramatically, with the expenses of food more than doubling. Now, for many, it's been a difficult time to live in, especially with the new fuel pump price unveiled earlier this month. Well, let's find out right now how the economic situation is affecting Nigerian youth. We have a Nigerian student joining us now is Boluwatife Razak, an undergraduate student at the Kwara State Polytechnic in Ilorin. She's also an online business vendor and makeup artist. Hello, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's begin with, the situation of your life as an undergraduate in present time Nigeria. How is the current increase in the pump fuel price, impacting on you as an undergraduate?
It's been kind of unbearable. Imagine struggling with your courses, how to feed, and still have to struggle with transport fare. The price of fuel has affected almost everything in the country. So feeding has become very hard than it used to be. And that also goes to the transport fare. And it's also affecting our allowance.
Okay, let's help us understand how it is for you. You are in Ilorin, that's Kwara State, north central Nigeria. So when you talk about transport fare, how was it before and what is the current situation now?
Before, transport fare was 15 naira from my place to the school gate. And to the school gate, down to my department is 15 naira. That's 100 naira. But now I'm not spending that through and through, entering the school and coming back is 200 naira. But right now I'm spending 500 naira going and coming back.
But, you are in a sort of controlled environment, you're in school, and some people would think that this impact will be more felt on your parents or your guardians. But is this the case, that it's not really affecting you per se?
I can't say no to their thinking. It's quite right. But all individuals are facing a lot of difficulties with the current situation of the countries. So no matter what is affecting our parents, it's definitely going to tell on we the students.
And you had mentioned offline earlier that you're also an online business vendor. You were working as you're studying. How do you manage the two side by side?
I'm an online vendor, right? I go to school from 8 to 12 and I do my online businesses and my makeup job on the side. So most of the times it's an online delivery, so I don't have to go there by myself. I just have to make it available for the dispatch rider. So that is also affecting because the increase in fuel pump price is affecting us seriously because most of our customers don't want to order goods of 2,000 naira and get it delivered with 5,000 naira.
Well, you can imagine, the delivery price costing more than what you're actually buying. But what would you say, could help cushion the effect of this on you and many other, students like yourself?
First, there should be a reduction in the fuel price. The fuel price is too high. The fuel price is too high. That's all I can say. So when there is reduction in the fuel price, I think every other thing is going to change.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Bolo Atife Razak, Nigerian student with the Kwara State Polytechnic. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Let us move away from Nigeria now to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The country has received 50,000 doses of vaccines from the United States, and it's to combat the ongoing Mpox outbreak in the country. Now, this is coming a week after the second batch of 100,000 doses arrived from the European Union. Now, so far, the country has received a total of 250,000 vaccines. Health officials announced that adults in Equateur, South Kivu, and Sankuru, and these are the three provinces most affected, they will be vaccinated first, starting on the 2nd of October. Authorities also say the 250,000 doses represent only a fraction of the 3 million doses needed to put an end to the Mpox crisis in the country. Well, let's take a break at this time. Still to come. Hundreds of passengers stranded at Kenya's main airport as a result of a staff protest. To give you more details after the break, please join us again. Welcome back to the program. We continue in Kenya. Hundreds of passengers are stranded at the country's main airports, even as workers protest against a planned takeover by an Indian business group. The workers launched Go Slow, where staff deliberately work slowly to cause disruption, and it's in a stand against proposals to lease the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to the Indian Adani Group for 30 years. The Aviation Workers Union argued that the deal is opaque and could lead to job losses. However, the government has defended this proposal, saying the airport is operating beyond capacity and needs private investment to upgrade it. Well, outside the airport on Wednesday morning, passengers in large crowds lament the flight delays and cancellation of both departing and arriving flights, even as they wait for information on what is happening.
From 3:30, we've been sitting down there waiting. Nobody's coming out to tell us anything, to inform us anything. Either we should go, leave, look for a hotel or something. I have a little child here waiting hungrily. No one comes there. This is not good at all. They don't know when their flights are going to start in tomorrow or anything. They don't have any information. And she's supposed to be in school.
Our flight was at 6:45 a.m. We came here at 4 a.m. We've been waiting for 6 hours. I was literally sitting there just doing nothing, bored. And yeah, it's very poor.
Well, let's get more on this story. Joining us now is Juma Majanga, the VOA's reporter in Nairobi, Kenya. Hello, Juma. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we've heard from those stranded passengers. What are we hearing now from the airport workers who are protesting?
Thank you, Layo. Nice to join you again. Now, just to put context to this strike has been looming for weeks now, even months. I mean, last month, if you remember, the airport workers gave a notice of strike, but then they were told that the issues would be addressed. So by Friday last week, when the issue was not addressed, we saw by Monday they started a go-slow, which culminated in a full strike from yesterday night at midnight. So now, what in a statement that has been sent to newsrooms, the Kenya Airports Authority says that they apologize to passengers who have been stranded at the airport for now almost 24 hours. And the statement also says that the strike by the workers is illegal, is accusing the workers of going against the court orders. The authority says that they are engaging relevant persons to try and restore normalcy. Up to now, there's been a meeting that's been going on between the aviation workers and the government, and we're waiting to see a statement that will come from that meeting, which is still ongoing and has not ended up to now. So we're waiting to see what will happen. But for now, that's what the authority is saying.
Well, while we are waiting for that, talk to us about this deal with the Indian Adani Group. The government says private investment is to upgrade the airport. But is there a reason this deal is with foreigners and not local investors?
Now, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has been a major aviation hub in the region, not just in Kenya. But in the recent past, we've seen the airport really struggle with a number of challenges. We've seen flooding in the airport. We've seen leakages of rain. We've seen also frequent blackouts in the airport. So in a bid to try to address these issues, the government says it reached out to Adani Group in India to pump in money to renovate the airport and try to make it an international airport to be able to compete with some airports in the region which are coming up. If you look at Bole International Airport in Ethiopia, if you look at Rwanda is putting up a modern airport. This deal is at a cost of $1.8 billion US. That's a huge money. So critics say that that amount is enough really to build a new airport and not just to renovate the airport. But the contention really has been for the workers who are striking, the contention has been in their work. I mean, in the deal, their job is not guaranteed as per the deal. So that's what they have been raising over the past weeks and months. Adani has been in a lot of discussions in Kenya. If you remember, this deal was unearthed. It's really been shrouded in secrecy. So the person who really brought this to the fore was actually in one of the Twitter spaces during the protests that have been come to be called Gen Z protests. I happened to be in that space. And when this person was explaining this deal, it sounded like something that was not true. So people were doubting. So when it started unfolding slowly, people realized that this was all true. Now, the deal itself has caused a lot of discussions in Kenya. I remember there's a group that went to court, the Law Society of Kenya, and they've been able to get a court order stopping any deal as far as Adani is concerned until the case is heard and determined. So why did the government reach to a foreign entity? If you look at the amount of money, it's colossal amount of money. So the government was looking for someone with money to come in to try and renovate the airport and make it competitive. And Adani came out to say they're able to provide that money. And that's why they reached a deal with the government.
All right, then, you mentioned that meeting between the airport officials and the government is still ongoing, but perhaps how long the officials are planning this process for, and, this is affecting several passengers.
You're right. I mean, the economic effects of this strike will be huge. The workers say this is the only language that government understands. So for them, they say they will be in the streets until the government listens to their call and reverses this deal, or at least guarantee them of their jobs in the deal. If you remember this strike, it was for the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, but the strike has been countrywide. All airports across the country, all the workers joined their colleagues in solidarity. We've seen the Central Organization for Trade Unions in Kenya coming out to say that they are in solidarity with the airport workers who are striking. So we don't know how long this is going to take, whether the government is going to listen to their demands and call off the deal, or at least guarantee them of their job in the deal. So we wait to see how that will go.
All right, Juma, just finally, the passengers, perhaps, there is a contingency plan for them, by the airport management while we're waiting for a resolution.
So far, the passengers, like we mentioned, that they weren't being affected. Remember, there are people who've been at the airport since yesterday night, and up to now, speaking to them, they say there's still no communication. I mean, the authority, the Kenya Airports Authority, has rather delegated that to the airlines. They have told the passengers to contact their respective airlines to tell them the status of their flight. So far, passengers are stranded, no communication. They don't know what to do, like the person who was in the story earlier. That's the situation. Up to now, there's still no communication to the passengers, clear communication, directing them on what to do. They don't know who to turn to. The authority says contact your respective airlines. So basically, the passengers are stranded in the airport and they're waiting for guidance from wherever it may come.
All right, then we hope for a swift resolution to that so, people can make their travels as they please. But thank you so much, Juma Majanga, VOA's reporter in Nairobi.
Thank you.
Well, among the Wagner mercenaries presumed dead in a desert battle with Tuareg rebels back in July in Mali were Russian war veterans who had survived tours in Ukraine, Libya, and Syria. Now, this is according to a review of social media data and footage from the battle. Analysts believe the losses exposed the dangers faced by Russian soldiers and mercenary forces working for military juntas that are struggling to contain separatist and powerful offshoots of the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda terrorist groups across the arid Sahel region of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Well, an analyst at the Warsaw-based Polish Institute of International Affairs describes the significance of the battle.
Well, it was the biggest defeat that Wagner suffered in Africa, and actually the biggest defeat it suffered beyond Ukraine after Syrian defeat a few years back. So it was highly unexpected by Russians because they considered that this is a more or less safe operation. They were still under impression that they are that it's an easy fight. They captured Kidal, the northern town in Mali, last year in November with no fight actually. So they underestimated the quality of Tuareg fighters that they were facing. This new recruitment drive for Africa Corps, which was about to grow into 20,000 or even 40,000 of military personnel, meant that there will be a massive recruitment for Africa, and that created this feeling that this is the best opportunity that mercenaries have to be on the safe side, to earn some money, and also to experience this tropical adventure. It might be ironic, but it seems like it's a holiday type of experience.
The levels of civilian targeting have been incredibly high. Those have escalated in Mali beyond those that we saw under the leadership of Prigozhin. So if we do assume more control by the Ministry of Defense, then we also have to take into account that Russian mercenaries are carrying out higher levels of civilian targeting. We're seeing a rise in the number of estimated civilian fatalities at the hands of Africa Corps.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.